Hi everybody. Well, I'm at about my third Lowe's location. Finally, in Huber Heights, I found Erodium that I've been searching for so long. This is a really cute plant for Hypertufa, and I love it. It is called rock geranium on this label, but it's Alpine geranium or looks like cranesbill, the large geraniums, perennial geraniums. But it's such a pretty plant, and I love it. I'm going to snap it up as I see it because I've been looking for it, and I thought maybe they've discontinued carrying it, but it's such a beautiful plant. Prices have gone up some in the last few years, but I want it anyway, so I'm grabbing 3 of them. They're really pretty. Now right next to it is some thyme. This is the creeping thyme. I like it too. I think it really makes a nice plant in Hypertufa because it just mats and looks real thick and cascading over the sides. So I'm going to grab some of that too. Maybe 2 or 3. It's not real expensive, and it will spread like a foot wide, 18 inches wide. So will the Erodium. It will just crawl all over the place. Now I've got a lot of the coral bells, the heuchera. I love their colors. They're such a nice perennial that comes back every year and gets more and more and more. I don't like the vinca. It takes over. Now here's some creeping thyme also. I guess it's the Lowe's brand. It looks exactly the same, maybe just a slightly different blooming color or red blooming color. I like it too. That's pretty. And it's nice that they're keeping the price down. Now, I've not had this type of ajuga. I may pick up some of that next trip for one of my Hypertufa bowls. That's a pretty plant. I like the little blooms in the spring. Calla lilies are so pretty. I like them. I've never tried those, never planted those, but one of these days I may try it because they are pretty to look at. Oh, I've got sun impatiens, you can see there. They look like New Guinea impatiens, but they grow in the sun. Oh, and look at the Japanese painted fern. This is a herbaceous perennial. This fern dies down, goes away here in Ohio, but then it sprouts right back up in the spring. And it has a pretty bluish purple tint to it with dark veining. I really love it. I had that at my last house. Don't have any at the new house, so this must be the year that I should get some, right? I could justify it. Lots of hens and chicks here. I tend to like, oh, look at these. They are starting to send out their bloom shoots. And if people buy these thinking, you know, hey, there we go. We've got a nice tall one. It's going to bloom already. It dies after it blooms. Sorry. So don't be trapped. I think the fescue would look pretty in a Hypertufa pot too. I may try that also. Oh, I like these hens and chicks. I love them in a great big pot like that where they're all stuck together. Now this one says killer, Sempervivum killer. And it indicates it's for shade. I'm going to try that. I'd like to have some out front that it's under the maple tree. I've got a lot out there already, but I'd like to have more. Can't ever have enough Sempervivum. Now this is the firecracker sedum. I've got that at home, but it's not this huge lobed variety. Mine's more small, like the John Creech sedum. They've got quite a lot of plants out at this Lowe's. I really think it looks good, and I'm getting a nice big selection here during this shopping trip. It's a good thing I've got a cover in my trunk. Now that's a pretty, what's that labeled? The Mandevilla or the Diplenia, I can't remember how that's pronounced. It looks like the hanging basket type. Oh, that's a gorgeous peony. I don't have any peonies at my house. Did have them at the prior house. Loved them so much. One of these days I'll invest in peonies. Got a lot of boxwood already. And so far we haven't had that blight problem that killed a lot a few years back. Now these peonies are a little more reasonably priced. They are smaller. One of these days I may try. Oh, I love this sweet iris, a variegated sweet iris. That's so pretty. There's so many that I want to try, but where would I put them? I really have to think long and hard about that. But let's move on down and see what else. Now this is a New Hampshire purple geranium. Now these are the perennial geraniums, and they come back every year. They die to the ground, come back every year. I really like them. I've got several geraniums already. Maybe one day I'll try that New Hampshire purple. Now here's an autumn fern. Those are pretty. Nice and bright green. I probably need to start a fern bed somewhere in the shady areas of the house. Oh, and here's a cheaper version, a smaller pot of the Japanese painted fern. I think that's a sign that I should get some. Always looking for a bargain, and it'll grow and get just as big as that other one, and I saved a few dollars on each pot. I like that. See that pretty bluish tint to the leaves? Purplish blue tint. I like that. I'll just pick up two. Isn't that pretty? Yep, that looks like a good one. For $5 a plant, I think those would look good around my large Hypertufa out front. Just kind of give it a pretty colored backdrop. Sun patience there right in the middle. Got two of them. I'm going to plant those right out in the sun in a pot. Now look at the, I think that's an aloe and a yucca. That looks like my Crosby's prolific that I've got so many of now. Not sure what variety that is, but it sure looks like mine. Really toothy, and those hurt. A poor neglected little plant. I can't even tell what it was, but it sure is dead. Look at that bloom on that aloe. I had mine bloom before. They have really pretty bell-shaped blooms. Look really, really nice. And these are the Schwarzkopf peonies, I think they are. I have something similar to that looks so spindly and dried up and neglected. It's definitely going out, and it's going to be survival of the fittest. They're very, very tiny, not large like those are. But we're just going to have to see what we can do with it and let it try and survive, or just go ahead and die, whichever you choose. These hydrangeas are gorgeous, that pink color. $19 for 1.5 gallon pots. Those are pretty. I really like hydrangea. I do have some that are out in the landscape. but they are mostly all white and shades of green and tan. I should buy a few bags of mulch or cow manure, something to put over them, because they do need to be fed. Keep them looking nice. But that is a pretty field of hydrangea. I love that color. Now these are the succulents. I have some big pots of succulents all put together, but pretty expensive at $25 a pot. I think I can put that together in some of my Hypertufa with the assortments I've already grown and have a nice display. Now they've got a lot of succulents here at Lowe's, but even these small ones are like $3.98, and then it gets higher and higher. I'll probably wait to see when Kroger's puts out their succulents. Last year they were like $1 each, and they were really good succulents. I got a lot of plants that way. Doesn't look like an aloe. Oh well. I am needing some new plant food, but I think I'll order that Schultz that I like to just mix in my watering pots and feed every time I water. It's made special that way. It works for me. I don't ever burn my plants that way. Those are some pretty pots. I don't know if that's a neon pothos. That's pretty though. I don't have any like that, but it doesn't have a name to it. It doesn't tell you specifically. Looks like they're, what is it, $12.98 for that pot. It's a decent price for that size of a plant and pot, I guess. But again, it doesn't tell me the variety. I'd have to look it up to be sure of what I was getting. But a nice looking plant. I don't need any other big specimen plants. I got too many big ones as it is. I would like to have another begonia. Because I've killed the one that I did have. I tried to keep it over the winter. It died. Now the death row pack here, I've seen worse, but I've sure seen better too. But nothing that I'm tempted to get. I don't do well with orchids, so of course I'm not going to get an orchid. Now these are nice pots here, Dieffenbachia and some more ferns. I may try some ferns in my aquarium this year, because I'll probably take out the succulents and try something different. I'll put them in assorted pots, but I'll be sure and film that and show you about that later. Oh, look at that ZZ. That's a huge ZZ. So many tempting plants, but I'm looking into the outdoor ones that I can put outside. Oh, there's a Saginella. One pot of mine is doing real well. The other pot has gone belly up. The one in my bottle garden, I'll make a film about that. Oh, I like the ponytail palm. That's something that I have been interested in. When I read about it, it sounds like something I'd like to have. That's a cute one. But again, that's an indoor plant, or at least I would keep it indoors. And I'm just putting everything outside, so I don't want another indoor plant. Now that's a different looking Dieffenbachia or dumb cane. I'm not sure what variety. I've heard, I think it's named Rebecca. There's some with a lot of ladies' names, Mary and Rebecca, and names like that. But I don't know enough about them to know for sure what variety that is. But my cart is full enough. I've got a lot. So let's just go on home and get these into the ground. Thanks for watching.